I wonder if you remember this little video. Let me play you a bit.
Ja, bespokójś, что она спутается с замороженным горшком.
Как дела? I mean, how? How is life going in the freezer?
There's a really interesting story about Margarita Simeonon, who's the boss of Russia Today. And she has admitted that on Russia Today, they've pretty well given up using real newscasters. They use AI-generated people who look and sound absolutely real. It's an astonishing admission. Of course, what this means is that they don't have to worry about whether people are going to be parading behind these newscasters with placards saying no to the war, no to the special military operation. They don't have to worry about whether these newscasters are going to look alarmed as they read alarming news or shocked as they read stuff which is blatantly false. They can be programmed to say exactly what the Russian propagandists want them to say. Now, why am I talking about this? As you may know, two issues. Number one, I lived in Russia for about 10 years, and during my time, I did a number of interviews and talks on Itorgi Nedeli, which was run by a lady called Irada Zainalova. And I became increasingly worried that what I was saying was being distorted. And on one occasion, I got permission to record on my phone the interview. It was actually recorded in the UK. And that evening, I travelled back to Moscow. And so I was in time to actually see it being broadcast. And what I had said was completely different to what I was saying. And different words had been put in my mouth. And in fact, they hadn't even bothered with lip-syncing it. And I got in touch with them. It was for a channel called MTV. And it never went anywhere. But I was at one point invited to go and meet Irada Zainalova. And I got as far as the television studio with a journalist who had been one of my students. In fact, I'd done a series of lectures on the ethics of journalism, which is ironic. And I was left in the studio cafe, paying for and drinking coffee. I don't like coffee. So on many levels, it was irritating. And eventually I was sent home. Now, the boss of RT, as I say, is all for AI. So what Zainalova was trialing in 2016, I think it was, or 2017. No, it's 2019, sorry. What she was trialing was a version of this fake news, a version of this modified footage. And it didn't matter terribly because what I was saying wasn't important. On one occasion, I was discussing a Russian animated film called Masha and the Bear. Great fun. And so it wasn't as if I was important, but I was concerned that I was being doctored. And had I been saying something important, then it would have been a significant issue. There was a fellow called John Curtis, Professor Sir John Curtis, the psephologist. He was also on the same program, and he was also doctored, but he didn't have the evidence. So I eventually took the evidence to BBC, and they did quite an interesting article about it, which you can find on the BBC monitoring site or something. And it covers both what happened to me and what happened to John Curtis, and the same show. And the other issue is my sort of entertaining myself with the idea that it is genuinely true that Vladimir Putin died on the 26th of October at 8:42 in 2022. The details are very specific. Apparently, people standing outside his bedroom heard a thud on the floor. They went in. They found he'd fallen out of bed, and shortly after that he had a heart attack and was declared dead at 8:42 in the evening. Very precise, and since then he's been kept on ice and has been replaced by doppelgangers. But doppelgangers were regularly replacing him during his time in the years leading up to 2019. And this would explain the contrast of the man who was terrified of any form of personal contact and was sitting at the end of a very long table, and the oddness of a similar man who looked and sounded like Putin, who was going out glad-handing the civilians in the street on various occasions. One was real, one was fake. One was the real Putin, the other one was the doppelganger, the person at the end of the large table, presumably being the real one. And he has increasingly been replaced. And do I think Putin is dead? In a way, I don't really care. But there are two issues with this idea. Number one, Putin long ago ceased to be an important individual. Putin has long ago moved from being an individual and has become a brand. Putin, for a long time, was controlled by by different groups of the powerful in the Kremlin, and it was very interesting during the last 10 years which group was had greater sway over the Putin presentation. So, should Putin have died, there probably wouldn't be any difference in what we see. And now we come to the clinch. So I mentioned the boss of RT, and she is very proud of the fact that AI is generating photos for RT. A significant number of our hosts are non-existent, she says, with great pride. And then the other night, Putin did his speech to the nation, and it was widely disseminated. And I'd like you to look at this little section here.
Оперативно-тактическими ракетами атакам с производства США. И 21 ноября в ходе комбинированной ракетной атаки системами Storm Shadow производства Великобритании и HIMARS производства США были нанесены удары по военным объектам на территории Российской Федерации в Брянской и Курской областях. С этого момента, как мы неоднократно подчеркивали, ранее спровоцированный Западом региональный конфликт на Украине приобрел элементы глобального характера. Наши системы противовоздушной обороны отражали эти атаки. В результате цели, которые очевидно были поставлены перед собой противником, не достигнуты. Возникшее на складе боеприпасов в Брянской области возгорание от падения обломков ракет «Атакамс» ликвидировано. Жертв и серьезных разрушений нет. В Курской области нападение было совершено на один из командных пунктов нашей группировки «Север». В результате атаки и противовоздушного боя есть, к сожалению, пострадавшие, погибшие и раненые из числа личного состава подразделений внешней охраны объекта и обслуживающего персонала. Командный и оперативный состав пункта управления не пострадал и осуществляет в штатном режиме руководство действиями наших войск по уничтожению и выдворению частей противника из Курской области. Еще раз хочу особо подчеркнуть, что применение противником подобного оружия не в состоянии повлиять на ход.
And let me play you another section here and see if you notice anything.
Систем средней дальности. В данном случае с баллистической ракетой в безъядерном гиперзвуковом оснащении. Наши ракетчики назвали ее «Орешник». Испытания прошли успешно. Цель пуска достигнуто. На территории Украины, в городе Днепропетровске, поражен один из крупнейших и известных еще со времен Советского Союза промышленных комплексов, который и сегодня производит ракетную технику, другое вооружение. Разработка ракет средней и меньшей
The two
дальности
sections are very interesting to me because the hands, these things, never move. And the tie, which Putin is wearing, is very strangely composed next to those hands. Now, could it be that this video, and there is speculation incidentally around the internet, you just have to look to see if you can find it. It is there. I'm not the first person to notice this. Is it possible that this is a computer-generated Putin? Is it possible that this is a modified version of a speech he's already given? It is possible to do this. I'd like you to have a look finally at a video that I made with not such good technology. I'm not a head of state. I don't run an entire country. I don't have all those resources. I have very modest resources, but this is my version of Boris Johnson singing a little song.
I'm Boris. I lie. I lie. I lie. I lie. I lie when I can. It's just my own vocal arrangement. I'm simply that man, that master of oral entertainment. It's my word that I've chosen, and I'll profit by it. My word, I might try it, or I'll just deny it. I don't give a damn. It's wow, thank you, ma'am. You know, I'll lie when I can. I lie where I can, straining the truth, staining the sofa. No need for Schofield's intercession. There's no big confession.
What I suggest, frankly,
When it's
is if I can do
over,
it, the people in the Kremlin can do it. And whether Putin is in a smeg fridge, or whether Putin is in retirement, or whether Putin simply doesn't want to do all these speeches to camera, or whether Putin is defiant and wants to do something different and has been silenced, it doesn't really matter. The fact is that I don't think we can believe that what we see is real when it comes to Russian television and Russian propaganda. This is a country which has embraced the technology of deception in a way that is simply phenomenal. And we dismiss that to our cost. This is a country which really knows how to do propaganda. This is a country which really knows how to lie. And it's not the West that it's interested in lying to. It's the whole host of people who live in Russia, are spread through so many different time zones, who cling to the television for news because there is no other. And the television is on 24 hours a day. And this is the sort of nonsense which is being peddled. And if the head of RT can boast that she doesn't need to hire real people because she's got AI technology, why not Putin?
let me repeat. I lie.